Hello, just gonna play a little bit of Dragon Age Origins since I have some free time.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in.
What then?
When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything?
I suppose I couldn't sit by either.
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a blight to stop. Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in the Northern's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
They don't teach you how to fight in the cloister, do they?
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
What did you do before that?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Well, here I am.
were a traveling minstrel, do you have tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one. Told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
Flemeth. Morgan's mother was called Flemeth.
Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists?
Yeah, that sounds like her. She didn't really introduce herself as such.
Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Tell me the whole story.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
What happened then?
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Interesting. Know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Avelin's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on, and was not discovered.
Go on.
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
Jeez. That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Olay so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
Oh, that's a pretty cool story. Tell me about Darkspawn.
Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinter Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
There was another story I wanted to hear.
Which one?
Do you know anything about the Dalish?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in the land of their own.
It didn't last.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. There were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
How did Andraste die?
Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
I mean, I hope since we're going to Tevinter in the next game that they do more of what actually happened to Andraste in that whole situation. Why did Maker not save her with his power?
I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure.
Let's just move on.
Yes? Well, here I am.
Why are we stopping?
If we're working together, I think I should get to know you.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I need to know if I can trust you at my back.
I am Kunari. I have given my word to aid you. We are not people of idle promises.
I've never seen a Kunari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
No, why not?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Wow. You said you were in the army?
I am.
Have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, human.
What do you mean by that?
My people have been at war since the moment we set foot in the Northern Islands.
So the Kunari don't come from the islands?
We do now.
Where did you come from before?
Somewhere else.
Can you be more specific?
No. I was born in Saharon. Of the land we came from, I know nothing, not even its name. I do not see how this matters. Saharon and Parvolan are distant. Ferelden and the Darkspawn are immediate.
Are you alright? You're in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
We should get moving.
As you wish. Yes.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
To answer a question.
What was the answer?
Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When are you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
Why not?
It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
What were you doing in that cage?
Sitting, as you observed.
Very funny.
Thank you.
Are you going to answer my question?
I did. Parshera. Was there anything else?
I wanted to discuss something you mentioned.
Speak, then.
We're not. That's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. Very well. As you wish.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How did you become a shape-changer?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemets, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother's been doing this for a long time then.
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
Can anyone become a shape-changer?
Anyone with sufficient will, but the act of transformation is a magical one. It is a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
Do Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, it is true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
And what do other animals think of you when you've changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
I've never heard of magic like that before.
No, 'tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of Magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the Chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could. But as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
That's good. Such traditions need to be preserved.
I'm shocked that you think so, being a mage of the circle as you were. But perhaps you felt a little like a caged bird as well, caught within that dark tower.
Yes, very much so.
I thought so.
That's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
I think your abilities sound quite useful.
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us. What do you wish of me? If you must.
Can you teach others to become shape-changers?
By others, do you mean yourself?
Yes, I'm considering it.
Then I shall teach you what I can whenever we are in camp, provided you have the will to even make the attempt, that is. What do you wish of me? If you must.
Did you grow up in the Kakari Wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
Fine, I will leave you be.
I did not ask to be left alone. I simply wondered from whence comes this strange curiosity.
We don't need to be strangers, do we?
What a stranger does not know cannot hurt him, but have it your way. What is it you ask? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
But you kept going back to the wilds?
Would you not do the same? Your world is an unforgiving and cold place. The wilds I hail from is home to me, and I a natural denizen. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Very daring, that sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
Touching like a handshake?
To begin with, yes. What is the point of touching my hand? I find it an offensive intrusion. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes. How to eat at a table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, I'm glad it worked out this way at least.
Yes? Let's ignore the entire Darkspawn threat and the presence of a simpleton as your only other Grey Warden ally, then. Not that I lack appreciation for the intent of your comment. Thank you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? What do you wish of me? If you must.
Have you ever been hunted by the Chantry?
My mother has been hunted from time to time, yes. By Templar fools like Alistair, which should tell you how successful they generally were. Flemeth made a bit of a game of it, in fact. The Templars would come again, and she would look at me and smile and say that the fun was to begin once more.
Fun? You found it fun?
I found the game fun. I was too young to understand the truth behind what was happening. Flemeth would warn them once. 'Twas a warning they inevitably failed to heed. And then the true game began. Often Flemeth would use me as bait. A little girl to scream and run and lure the Templars deeper into the wilds and to their doom.
Did you actually kill them all?
Me? No. I never did any of the killing until later. And even then, Flemeth was a glutton for that sort of thing. Thankfully, the wilds is a vast place. Once they found us, Flemeth would simply move us elsewhere, and we would be lost within the forest once again. I did not understand the danger we faced until I was much older. I had never heard of apostates or maleficarum.
Do you still think it was fun?
I think that my mother made it fun so that a child did not learn to fear. And I think that it was necessary. There are no trials for apostates, no prisons, no mercy. There are only absolutes, so only survival matters. If the wilds have taught me anything, 'tis this. First, you must survive. Do you disagree?
Absolutely, there are worse things than death.
Oh, I would ask what exactly, but I'm certain that would be a lengthy conversation, and suddenly I grow very weary. Enough of this talk. Let us return to the task at hand. What do you wish of me? If you must.
Is Flemeth really what she seems to be?
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
Human?
Oh, she certainly was human. Once. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the Jasons still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience.
I've heard a little of it.
No doubt such a tale has mutated much over time and telling. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire.
That sounds interesting.
As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her.
Just how long ago was this?
Many centuries, before this land was even named for Eldon. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord, who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed.
Flemeth must have been angry.
The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. It was Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge.
She spoke to spirits or demons.
Spirits first, and 'twas they who slew Conabar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conabar's allies chased Flemeth, you see, chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Which she never invaded, or he never defeated her.
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chased never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps it was due to the great war with the Chastened that it eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began.
Do you believe her version?
I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has coloured her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all.
I mean, this is so interesting because, you find out what happened in the next two games, and you're just like, Flemeth is certainly one of the more interesting characters. How is it that Flemeth has survived for so long?
The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her.
Would it, though? The legend tells of Flemeth having many daughters.
You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one. And these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed. So, should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too.
Why would she refuse to speak of them?
The Chastened tell of a falling out between Flemeth and her daughters. They say that one day she hunted them all through the wilds and ate their hearts. It may be true. I have never seen another witch or heard of one. Perhaps one day Flemeth will eat my heart as well.
Aren't abominations usually insane horrors?
How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her.
An interesting story, thank you.
Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless.
I love her. What else do you want to know?
Nothing. I wish to know nothing more. I find myself a little envious, to tell the truth. But it matters not. Let us move on. What do you wish of me? If you must. What do you wish of me?
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Why are you still here?
I am here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer.
Do you want to leave?
If I wanted to leave, then I would go. I remain, so do not ask such pointless questions.
Ow.
What do you wish of me? We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. I am here because Flemeth commanded me to aid you. Why? Do you wish me to leave? I can do so if you prefer.
No, I don't want you to leave.
Then I assume our discussion ends here.
Oh, fate loves me. Morgan's always so touchy.
Enchantment? Enchantment!
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings, perhaps? Of course. Good.
Goodbye.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
What could a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So Templars use magic themselves.
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
So couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together.
Wow. That's horrible. I can't believe they do that.
Well, they do it, and they feel perfectly justified. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me. What do you need? Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Very well, I'll respect your word.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all. What do you need? Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishout's Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
I think there are griffins at Weishout Fortress now. I hope we see them in the next game. So what happens now that there's just 2 of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
We need to start rebuilding the order.
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
What would happen if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left for Eldon? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere. About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need? Ask away.
So how did you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I mean, before that.
Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
So you mentioned before.
It's really for the best. I'm not exactly the Chantry type, if you haven't noticed. I don't think I would have made a very good Templar. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually. Was she ever furious when he did? I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
You think Duncan took pity on you?
I don't know. Maybe. When he came looking for recruits, I just remember praying fervently to the Maker that he would pick me. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking. What do you need? Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for tailoring.
In that case, you should have become a mage.
Oh, you aren't kidding. I think the Templar uniforms are as colourful as they are, just so that the Templars didn't feel dull in comparison. Last thing you want when you're about to take down some Maleficar out in the woods is to have him point and laugh at your tasting clothing, am I right?
And what's the real reason?
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
You don't have to tell me that. I was just curious.
Then let's just get back to what we were doing. No offense, but I'd really rather not discuss it. What do you need? Ask away. Oh, are you little?
Are you harassing my dog?
Me? Harassing your dog? I should say it's the other way round. Your furry friend did took offence at me getting near his food. He snapped at me. Look.
There's hardly any blood drawn, still he should know.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
I'd never feed you another human being.
It's not cannibalism if he's eating it, you know.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
It's a thought that counts.
Dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You're the lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Trying to find a way through the earth, are we? It's gonna take some time, you know. Oh, good luck with that then.
Yes.
Indeed.
I think I want to go check out what's happening at the Mage Tower first.
Do you see the tower? The view from the top must be spectacular.
Well, look at this. I remember taking you across when you left with that fella Duncan. And now you're a Grey Warden. My pap used to tell me stories about them.
Hello, Kester. Why aren't you banning the boat?
Templars took the boat.
Why would they take your boat?
I don't got a clue. They wouldn't tell me. Gregor just came down and said, "Don't you worry, Kester, we got it all under control, we do." Didn't say nothing else. And then he puts Carol in charge of my boat. Lissy. Named for my grandmum, she was.
Is something wrong up at the tower?
I told you, they didn't tell me nothing. And if I know they're mages, I'm better off keeping out of their business. If I had to guess, I'd guess it had to do with magic. But the tower's always got something to do with magic.
Is there no other way to get across?
You could try swimming, but I don't recommend it. Nasty things in that lake. I reckon it's all them potions they dump in there. Gregor's told me to stay here till it blows over, but I'm telling you, some storms don't blow over easy.
Well, thank you for your help.
You're too kind. Your type don't usually give my type the time of day.
You're the Grey Warden, aren't you? Exactly who I was hoping to meet. I represent a collective of mages interested in going about their lives without the constant scrutiny of the Chantry.
How can I help you?
Next to me, and in every major settlement, you will find an inconspicuous sack containing requests from mages all over the land who need the assistance of someone skillful and discreet.
I'll take a look at these requests.
Thank you, my friend. We have agents in every major settlement to reward you for work done on behalf of the collective. Make us smile upon you.
You ever wonder why the mages built their tower out in the middle of Lake Kalanad? They have an aversion to practicality or something? Do this, do that.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
What are you looking at? Can a man drink in peace?
Just like you wanted.
Good day, and welcome to the Spoiled Princess. Is there something I can get for you?
Why is this inn called the Spoiled Princess?
My father's idea. He ran the inn before me, and he named it for my sister. She was his little princess. Princess decided the country was too dull for her and moved to Denerim. More glamorous, she said. Well, she was found murdered, robbed of all the trinkets my father bought her with his hard-earned money. My father died of shock and heartbreak. Mother stopped eating, and I got the struggling inn. The name stuck. That's the story.
Yikes. I think I'd like a drink.
Of course. What would you like?
Good day. Good day. Good day.
You're not looking to get across to the tower, are you? Because I have strict orders not to let anyone pass.
Who are you?
I am the person appointed to stop all unauthorized access to the Circle Tower. Meaning you, because you're unauthorized.
Right. Let me in and I won't bother you anymore.
No, I've one job and one job only. And by the Maker's shiny gold cutlery, I will do it.
I really have business here. I'm a Grey Warden.
Oh, you're a Grey Warden, are you? Prove it.
Prove it?
Kill some Darkspawn. Come on, let's see some righteous Grey Wardening.
Grey Wardening isn't something you do, it's what you are.
Ugh, semantics. Anyway, it was nice chatting with you. Now, on your way, right now, go.
Your superior won't like that you've given me trouble.
Oh, really? You think Gregor would be upset with me for not letting you in? Wait, actually, he would. Good point.
Well, we should try our best to avoid that, shouldn't we?
He's the big guy around here. I bet he could deal with one Grey Warden. Alleged Grey Warden. Well, you want that I should take you there now?
Yes, please do.
Come along, I suppose.
And I want 2 men stationed within sight of the doors at all times. Do not open the doors without my express consent. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
The doors are barred. Are they keeping people out or in?
Now we wait and pray.
Gregor, good to see you again.
Well, look who's back. A proper Grey Warden now, are we? Glad you're not dead.
What's happening? Why are the great doors barred?
I shall speak plainly. The tower is no longer under our control. Abominations and demons stalk the tower's halls. We were too complacent. First Jowan, now this. Don't think I've forgotten your role in Jowan's escape.
What can I do to help?
I have sent word to Denerim, calling for reinforcements and the right of annulment.
How could you think of annulling the entire circle?
The mages are probably already dead. Any abominations remaining in there must be dealt with, no matter what.
This situation is dire. There is no alternative. Everything in the tower must be destroyed so it can be made safe again.
The mages are not defenseless. Some must still live.
If any are still alive, the Maker himself has shielded them. No one could have survived those monstrous creatures. It is too painful to hope for survivors and find nothing.
I'll look for survivors.
I assure you, an abomination is a force to be reckoned with, and you will face more than one.
I must try. It is the right thing to do.
A word of caution. Once you cross that threshold, there is no turning back. The great doors must remain barred. I will open them for no one until I have proof that it is safe. I will only believe it is over if the first enchanter stands before me and tells me it is so. If Irving has fallen, then the circle is lost and must be destroyed. May Andraste lend you her courage, whatever you decide.
Stay away from the tower if you value your life.
I wish this were over. We're running low on supplies, and I don't know how much longer we'll last.
Do you need help?
We need the abominations and demons out of this place, if that's what you mean. If you have anything to trade, that would be helpful too.
Alright, let's trade.
Stay away from the tower if you value your life.
Do that for you. I finished. What now? What's next?
So, let me get this straight. You were a cloistered sister?
You must have been a brother before you became a Templar, no?
Templar. I was recruited into the Grey Wardens before I took my final vows.
Do you ever regret leaving the Chantry?
No, never. Do you?
Yes. You may not believe it, but I found peace there. The kind of peace I've never known.
It used to get so quiet at the monastery that I would start screaming until one of the brothers came running. I would tell them that I was just checking. You never know, right?
No, I never did anything like that. I enjoyed the quiet.
Suit yourself. The look on their face was always priceless.
You've returned to the tower? Why did the Templars let you through? Are you here to warn us?
This was my home. I wanted to see what happened to it.
I see you still care about the Circle and our tower. Unfortunately, the Circle is in grave danger.
Yes, the abominations and demons.
You've heard, then. I suppose the Templars would not let you in without warning you first. The Templars have barred the doors. They will only open them if they intend to attack us. Is that what is happening?
Don't worry, the Ray of Noma has not arrived.
They sent for it then. I feared they might have. What else could they do? So Gregor thinks the Circle is beyond hope. He probably assumes we are all dead. They abandoned us to our fate. But even trapped as we are, we have survived. If they invoke the right, however, we will not be able to stand against them.
Did Irving survive as well?
If anyone could survive this, it would be the first enchanter, Irving. It was he who told me to look after the children. It's a long story. I erected a barrier over the door leading to the rest of the tower, so nothing from inside could attack the children. You will not be able to enter the tower as long as the barrier holds, but I will dispel it if you join with me to save the Circle.
Very well, I will help you.
Once Gregor sees that we have made the tower safe, I trust he will tell his men to back down. He is not unreasonable.
Gregor will only accept it if the first enchanter says so.
Then our path is laid out before us. We must save Irving.
Will the children be safe here?
Petra and Kanan will watch them. If we slay all the fiends we encounter on our way, none will get by to threaten the children.
Very well, if you think that is best.
Petra, Kanan, look after the others. I will be back soon.
Wyn, are you sure you're all right? You were so badly hurt earlier. Maybe I should come along.
The others need your protection more. I will be all right. Stay here with them. Keep them safe and calm.
Have faith, we will not fail.
Your confidence is refreshing, though you should make sure it does not blind you to your weaknesses. If you are ready, let us go end this.
Yes.
Indeed.
Boys are better at magic than girls.
Oh, it's you. I remember you. The tower isn't how you remember it, is it?
Hello, how have you been?
All right, considering the circumstances. I keep thinking this is our punishment for being mages. That's why the Templars have to do away with us.
No, don't say that. It's not true. You deserve to live just like anyone else.
The swords are like the sword of mercy that sent Andraste back to the Maker.
Would have been better if Andraste hadn't died at all.
Andraste only died because of man's foolishness and pride. We need to atone for this. We should let the Templars come. Only then can we be cleansed of our wickedness.
If you say so.
I will pray. May we abandon our tainted bodies to find peace with the Maker.
It's done.
I'm hungry!
Look after her, will you?
You sound a little worried.
I don't know if she's up to this, especially not after... I just worry.
Not after what?
I was on my way down to the library when I heard screaming, and a demon came around the corner. Its eyes were afire with evil. I was certain it was my death come upon me. I think I screamed. I was so afraid. And then Wynne was there, in front of me, shielding me. It was light and fire, blood and chaos. When it was over, the demon was dead, but Wynne wasn't moving either. I was so afraid she was... gone.
What happened then?
As I moved to help her, she stirred and coughed. I don't know what I would have done if she had died. For me.
That's good, I'm glad she survived.
Just look after her, alright? She might be completely fine, but then again, maybe she didn't come away from that totally unharmed.
Don't worry, she'll be safe with me.
Thank you. And thank you again for helping us.
I am unable to do that.
Here.
Can't do that.
Here we are. I'm somewhat amazed at myself for having kept it in place this long.
Did it tire you out?
It made me very weary at times, but I had to stay strong to keep us safe. Be prepared for anything. I do not know what manner of beasts lurk beyond this barrier. Are you ready?
I am ready to destroy the barrier.
All right. Be on your guard.
Please refrain from going into the stock room. It is a mess, and I've not been able to get it into a state fit to be seen.
Owen?
Yes, it is I, Owain. You remember. I was trying to tidy up, but there was little I could do.
Don't you want to get out of here?
I tried to leave when things got quiet. That was when I encountered the barrier. Finding no other way out, I returned to work.
Owain, you should have said something. I would have opened the door for you.
The stockroom is familiar. I prefer to be here.
I'm glad you're alright, Owain.
I would prefer not to die. I would prefer it if the tower returned to the way it was. Perhaps Niall will succeed and save us all.
Succeed at what?
I do not know. But he came here with several others and took the litany of a Drala.
But that protects from mind domination. Is blood magic at work here?
I do not know.
Niall was in the meeting. He would know. Blood magic. I was afraid of this.
How is it worse?
Blood magic could control us too. Who knows what could happen then? We should find Niall. The litany will give us a fighting chance against any blood mages we encounter.
I wish you luck. Perhaps this will be over soon and things will return to the way they were. Goodbye.
Enemies approaching!
Please, please don't kill me. The people you killed didn't want to die either.
I know I have no right to ask for mercy, but I didn't mean for this death and destruction. We were just trying to free ourselves. Aldred told us that the Circle would support Loghain, and Loghain would help us be free of the Chantry. Don't you remember what it was like living here? The Templars watching. Always watching.
What you've done will make things worse for future mages.
We thought someone always has to take the first step. Force a change, no matter the cost.
Nothing is worth what you've done to this place.
And now Aldred's gone mad, and we are scattered, doomed to die at the hands of those who seek to right our wrongs.
You know we cannot allow blood mages to live.
But I would like a chance to atone for what I've done. Please, if you spare me, I could escape and seek penance at the Chantry.
You know, they'll never take you. They're very picky about who they let in. Harlots, murderers, yes. Maleficarum, oh no.
Your comments betray your ignorance, Alistair. The Chantry accepts all, regardless of what they've done.
Well, it seems you're familiar with the whole other Chantry, because the one I know wouldn't hesitate to shove a sword of mercy right through her heart.
Enough, this is not the point.
I just want my life. Please.
How will you get out with blood magic?
I'll find a way, please. I swear I'll do something good with my life.
I will spare you. Do not make me regret this decision.
Thank you. The Maker will surely turn his eyes on you for your mercy.
What now?
The tower was here long before the Circle. It was always unlikely that we were the first to bring magic to its halls.
Heck with this late explosions.
Allow me. I could do that for you. Just like you wanted. Unliving wretches. On it. Yes? I finished.
Hello?
Hello?
Nothing. Please, I don't want to die.
You don't have to be afraid of me.
The demons.
They're gone.
If you're sure it's safe, I could take a peek outside.
Oh. Ah, yeah. Yes.
Are you hurt?
I have a crick in my back and my bum's gone numb. Oh, holy maker, look at this. Those demons didn't know what hit them, did they? Godwin, Mage of the Circle of Ferelden, at your service.
How did you end up in that closet?
There were demons everywhere, blocking my exit. I decided that the best thing to do in that situation was to hide and be very, very quiet. I just really want to be somewhere safe. I think I might stay here for now. Maybe go back into my closet for a little while.
I've killed most of the demons. You can escape.
Go where? The Templars have locked the door. I'm just going to stay here and see what happens.
But you wish your life is your own.
Thank you again for saving me. May we meet again in happier, less life-threatening times. Oh, it's hard to remain quiet and hidden when you keep approaching me like this.
I'll just be on my way then.
It's done.
Yes? Is there something you wish to discuss? If not, we should hurry. Time is of the essence.
What do you know about the Litany of Andrala?
Adrala was a bard in the service of Divine Clemens I. During the Second Exalted March, the schism had split the Chantry into the one we know and the Imperial Chantry in Tevinter. There was much mistrust of the Tevinter Imperium at this time, as you can imagine.
All right, go on.
Even though the Imperial Chantry forbade blood magic, the Chantry, our Chantry, did not believe them. After all, many of the Tevinter mages, and even their Magister Lords, had used blood magic with impunity throughout history. Together, with the help of the Chantry and its Templars, Adrala wrote the Litany to protect against the mind-controlling abilities of blood mages.
This will stop any mind control?
Reciting the litany breaks any existing mind control and prevents future attempts at domination from being successful.
Can you tell me more about Uldred?
I suppose you would not have had much contact with him. He never mentored the apprentices, never taught. He didn't seem to care much for the Circle, only his own advancement.
That doesn't mean he's responsible for this.
Call it woman's intuition. I'm sure Uldred has some redeeming qualities. He probably has a perfectly good reason for not displaying them.
Can you tell me how this trouble started?
A long story. It all started when I returned from Ostagar. I was at that ill-fated battle, and I survived barely. I was in no state to travel, so I stayed at Ostagar to recuperate and help the wounded. Uldred, on the other hand, left for the tower almost immediately. When I finally returned here, I found that Uldred had all but convinced the Circle to join Loghain, the man who nearly destroyed us all. I cannot fault the Circle, though. Uldred had a persuasive argument, and how could they have known what happened in Ostagar?
What did Uldred say?
The alliance with Loghain would have been to the Circle's advantage. According to Uldred, once Loghain was in power, he would order the Chantry to give us more freedom. Well, I told the first enchanter Irving what Loghain did on the battlefield. I revealed him for the traitorous bastard he is. Irving said he would take care of it. He called a meeting to confront Uldred. But something must have gone wrong. I emerged from my quarters when I heard the screams. They were coming from the meeting room, and it wasn't long before I saw the first abomination running down a mage. It deteriorated quickly then.
How did you find the children?
I found Petra first, and we were trying to fight our way to the meeting room to help, but we came across Irving. He was fighting a terrifying abomination, and he told me to get as many as I could to safety. I had to obey. That was the last time I saw Irving.
So he might be dead now or worse.
I refuse to believe it. If anyone could survive this, it is he.
Do you know what we will face in the tower?
You have seen the demons, haven't you? We will doubtless see more of those. But I fear the abominations more. They are no longer human and are driven only by their lust for destruction.
If we work together, we can survive.
I hope you're right.
Then let's not waste any more time.
Onward, then.
Yes?
I am unable to do that.
What is it? No, I don't think so.
guess that's good for now. I'll just start again next time. Alrighty, have a good night. Thanks for watching.